Shabbat Shalom, everybody. If you'll gather your candles, we'll begin with our candle blessing and a nigun found on page 2 in our prayer book, or page 120 if you have the larger full-size prayer book.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives, and bless all who join us this evening on this Shabbat, who are in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts as our worship leads us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. We'll begin with song as we turn to page 14, and we welcome Noah Fromson once again to join us on our bima with Cantor Kathy as we begin with the words of Or Zarua, followed by Lechadodi, page 14 or page 132 if you have the larger book.
Namana, 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 Or Zarua la tzadik uyishrei lebesimcha. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishrei lebesimcha. We must keep our hopes alive. We must raise our voices high. We must hold each other tight. We must stand up in the night and be a light. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishrei lebesimcha. Or Zarua la tzadik uyishrei lebesimcha. Namana, 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 namana.
Page 20 or page 138, the words of Lechadodi as we welcome Shabbat.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשימול תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה,
בני שבת נקבלה.
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה,
בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5. התעוררי, כי בארץ ומיורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
לך
דודי,
לך דודי לקראת כלה,
בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Please rise and face the entrance to your home. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וסחולה, תוך אמונה עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי,
לך דודי לקראת כלה,
בני שבת נקבלה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה,
בני שבת נקבלה. Please turn to page 26 or page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish. יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה בעלמא תפרח ירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם עלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירה בעלמה ויאמרו amen.
This week and next week, we're well aware of what the world outside these walls and outside our homes looks like, and how much we are focused on the change that is happening in our country at this moment. And so we offer specific prayers for this moment. I'll offer one now, written by Harold Kushner. I'm not asking God to change the world. I'm not asking God to make this a world where people no longer die, where people are automatically good, where they must choose good because they are incapable of evil. If I weren't sure of God, if I couldn't be sure that justice, courage, and peace were things God wanted, I'm not sure I could go in and continue working on them. If I didn't believe God cared about me and how I live, that God takes every human life seriously and invests it with significance, I couldn't believe that the world was on the way to becoming God's kind of world. I think I'd be too scared of death and evil to help anyone. So I'm not asking God to change the world for me. I ask only one thing of God, nothing but this: reassurance that God is there, that God is real, that God makes a difference. Let me know that. Let me find God in my own power to grow and to believe, to sanctify and to help others. And I will know that I am not alone. My world will be filled with light and with strength. We rise as we face east, a call to worship, Baruch Hu.
Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. Then there is one who leaves the circle of herself, singing the song of her people. Then there is the one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And then there is the one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling this universe with song. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. We fill this evening with song as we welcome this evening and turn towards our prayer for God's love, page 32 in our prayer books, also page 150 in the larger version.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavita Amcha ahavita Torah umitzvot Hukim umishpatim Otanu limadita Otanu limadita. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvenu V'kumenu nasiach bechukecha V'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha U'mitzvotecha leolam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu be'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Ohev Amo Yisrael. Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Please turn to page 34 and 35 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malachuto Leolam Vayid. You may be seated as we continue with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher Elohim mitzavecha hayom alavavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'letecha v'derech u'v'shochbecha v'kumecha u'ksortam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha L'ma'an tizkaru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Words from one of the great modern teachers of Judaism, Danny Siegel. O God, show us how to fashion holiness from waste, uncovering sparks in the broken shells of people beaten down by circumstance and mired in the boredom of hollowness. Instruct us in sympathy, God, that we may learn to tear away at hopelessness and the groan and oi of despair by stories and jokes and astonishing embraces. Give us insight and vision, and we will perform signs and wonders in the sight of all humanity, as you yourself once did in the land of Egypt and at Sinai. Show us life in all its glory, and we will glorify your name here and now, everywhere, and forever. The words of Michamocha, page 40 or page 158.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehidor b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malachutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'elianu ve'amaru, ze'elianu ve'amaru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor v'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele.
Vishamru, page 44 and page 162.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asut et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam b'rit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asut et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובין בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please rise and face east as we begin our most personal prayers, our Amidah. Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem L'Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezra Tzara, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav LaHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Malgevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Meimit Umechaye, Umatmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol.
Please be seated. In these last few weeks, many people have been writing prayers. It's said in our tradition that at times of strife and struggle, prayer comes easily to us. I share now a prayer written by the American Values Religious Voices group, a group of Jews and Christians and Muslims who came together to offer a prayer for this moment. And here are their words. Every inch of America is sacred, from sea to shining sea. There is much to be done in our time, the sort of hard work on which God smiles because it is done for the sake of the dignity and well-being of all God's creatures. Together, let us work to preserve and make manifest the values upon which our democracy was founded. The task of all people of faith is to call governing authorities to fulfill God's purpose of bringing about justice, mercy, and peace. Individually and as a nation, may we heed our obligations to each other as we navigate the tensions of building a just society. Rather than a politics of divisiveness, may we move our country toward a politics of empathy. May we use our power well, so we do great things for all God's creatures, all those who made in God's image, who yearn for an equal place at America's table. If we do all this, may grace and peace be ours in abundance. May we be a beacon and a blessing to the world. Shalom Rav, page 60, page 178, our prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki atahu melech hador lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech hador lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Please take a few moments for silent meditation. Yiyu l'ratzon im refi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Yiyu l'ratzon im refi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Vegoali. Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Adonai Turi, Vegoali. Yiyu l'ratzon im refi v'hegyon libi lefanecha. Yiyu l'ratzon im refi v'hegyon libi lefanecha.
Shabbat Shalom. In a few moments, Cantor Kathy will be reading from our Torah portion the words of Lech Lecha, famous words when God speaks to Abraham, the very beginning of our people in many ways. I want to put them in context a little bit before we hear them directly from the Torah. It's an amazing moment that I worry sometimes we take for granted when God turns to Avram, not yet Abraham, and says, "Go forth from the place where you are, from your native land, to a place that I will show you, a place you've never seen. Get out of here and start something new, God says. Verse 2, I will make of you a goy gadol, a great nation. I will bless you, I will make your name great, and you yourself will be a blessing. So go build a people. It'll be good for you, it'll be good for those who follow you, because God declares the future will be bright. As we look towards this week that we've been marching toward for so many months now, next week, the election is here. I want to believe that these words are true for us in this moment. Next week, Lech Lecha, we go, our journey begins. A journey of building or rebuilding our people. And I want to believe that the future is bright. I've mentioned a number of times over the past months that one of my concerns, one of my worries, is that during this political season, the way in which America frames our political season, that Election Day is thought of as an ending. It's the conclusion rather than the beginning. We may celebrate the end of this contentious election, but this Tuesday is another beginning for us, the beginning of a new journey. And it's a journey we must prepare to take together, and I pray that a journey that brings us blessings, the ability to rebuild a sense of peoplehood that we seem to have lost as we've become 2 or 3 or 4 Americas, not one. And whoever wins, whether it's the representatives that you voted for or the ones that you voted against, we must acknowledge that this journey, especially the beginning chapters of new journeys, are not easy. Commenting on this very Torah portion, Rashi, our greatest Torah scholar, reminds us of this very point. He says, why did Abraham need God's blessing as he began this journey? Because journeys are terribly hard. There are 3 things, he says, that make journeys painful for us. First, they put stress on our family. Second, they're expensive. They cost us our resources. And third, they make it hard for us to build lasting relationships when we're constantly moving from one place to the next. No one knows who we are, and so we're always strangers. Rashi doesn't imagine that Abraham just listened to God and went out into the wilderness excited about his destination. He imagines it like a negotiation. Abraham, God says, get out there, go on this journey to this place that I'll show you, but where you have no sense what your future will look like. Rashi, I imagine, thought of Abraham saying, hold on, God, I'm not putting my family through that. So God responds, verse 2, don't worry, your family will be fine, because you will be the father to a large family, a great nation, in fact. Okay, God, but it's going to cost so much. Not just money, but effort. It's going to be exhausting, and I'm already exhausted. Don't worry, Abraham. You are filled with blessing. You have an abundance of resources, more than enough to reach your destination. But I'll be a stranger, God. I'll be alone. No one will step up to help me. No, you won't. People will know who you are, they will care who you are, and they will pitch in. These are the promises that Rashi believes God made to Abraham that Cantor Kathy will read in a few moments. They're the promises I hope we can hold on to right now as we begin this new journey. Whoever wins this election, our family can make this journey, so long as we do it together. The last few months have felt like the beginnings of a divorce too often to me. I'm sure to many of you as well. It reminded me of what a social worker, Karen Kaiser, calls the bitterness bank. The bitterness bank is when people who love each other fill their emotional bank with increased bitterness toward each other. Sometimes that bitterness gets so overwhelming that the members of a family no longer recognize who each other are. They don't remember why they love each other or what brought them together in the first place. This is part of the challenge of traveling together. Anyone who's been on a road trip with their kids in the back seat knows that this bitterness bank grows and grows, and it's where we've been as a country for months, if not years at this point. But I pray that as we start this new step in our journey, that we move forward away from the bitterness and recognize that we have the resources to solve the challenges ahead. Imagine God telling us, giving us the confidence that he gave Abraham, that we can do precisely that. And so we should know that we do not fight for our most deeply held values alone, even when those values differ from those of our neighbors. It is not Republicans who care about the economy and Democrats who care about health care. It is the greater American people who care about both. That is what will keep us from being strangers to each other. That is what will ensure that we stand up and help each other when we see each other's concerns as valid, even if we disagree. That is American, and I believe that is Jewish as well. Lech Lecha, this week we look forward to the journey ahead, and we remind ourselves that journeys are always filled with anxiety, fear, and sacrifice. But when traveled well, with confidence and hope, with a spirit like that of Abraham, then they can be the greatest blessing we have known for our family, for our people, and God bless for our country. We hear now the words from this very Torah portion first, as Debbie Friedman penned them in her well-known music, Lechi Lach, as we begin this journey, and then we read the words as they were first put in Torah, verses from chapter 12 of Genesis.
Blessing, Lechi Lach.
Lechi Lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lechi lach.
Please rise for our Torah service as we share the words from Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 4, the very conversation between Abraham and God. The Torah service begins on page 246 as we open our ark.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Gadalu Adonai iti, uneromemo Shemo yaktav. Lecha Adonai hagedula, v'hagevura v'hatiferet, v'hanetzach v'hahod. Ki kol v'shamayim u'va'aretz, ki kol v'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, והמית נעשה לכל הראש.
The Torah blessings are found on page 250 or page 368 if you have the larger volume. Please join with us from your homes. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Adonai el Avram lech lecha martzecha u'mimoldecha u'mibeit avicha al haaretz asher arecha v'etzcha l'goy gadol v'abar avrechecha v'gadla shemecha yeh bracha barecha mevarechecha mimkalecha aor v'nivruchu v'cha kol mishpachat ha'adama Vayelech Avram ka'asher diber alav Adonai Vayelech oto la'ot v'Avram Ben hamesh shanim v'shivim shana b'tzeito mecharan.
Page 250, our closing blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
God said to Avram, "Go forth from your native land and from your father's house, to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse him that curses you, and all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you." We offer those very blessings now upon those whom we know are in need of healing. As we share the words of Misha Berach, we turn our thoughts and our prayers as we wish a refuah shlema, a full sense of healing to all of those who are ill at this moment.
Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
Mishe berach imotenu mekor habracha Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen.
We stand now as we return our Torah to the Ark.
V'zot haTorah asher sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Et chayim hi l'machazikim ba v'tomecha me'ushar deracheiha darchei noam v'chol nativotah shalom. Hashivenu Adonai אליך ונשובה, חדש, חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו כקדם.
Aleinu, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו כחמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You're welcome to be seated if you would like. We turn our thoughts and prayers now towards those that our community, families in our community have lost. As we remember the people who walked alongside us throughout our life, as we take this time to honor the way that they brought light into this world, and as we count them among the many whom we've lost among our people, honoring them with the words of Mourner's Kaddish. In the period of Shloshim, the families, loved ones whom we've lost in this past month, Frida Stile, Catherine Lowy, Janet Kaufman, and Louis Culliner. We add to their names the yard sites, the names of those whom we've lost at this season in years past: Shlomo Adler, Dr. Guillermo Alfonso, Louis H. Aronson, Selma Baer, Betty Barnett, Bernard Beer, George M. Cohen, Ray Cohen, Robert Ruby Fox, Shirley F. Gilbert, Lily R. Goldberg, Dorothy Goldenberg, Tilly Gordon, James H. Johnson, Sandra Lycan Cranus, Pearl Kropko, Samuel Lasher, Dr. Samuel Levy, Esther Levin, Harry Lieberman, Esther Lober, Louis Loeb, Jack Magalevi, Alicia Louise Moses, Marion Osseroff, Louis Reisberg, Tanya Reisberg, Sidney Schwartz, Dr. Arthur Stein, Harry Herman Sugar, and Morris Weiss. If there are names you'd like to add to our list, we invite you to share those names aloud as we turn to page 294 and share the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Please rise if you are able. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimeru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam al mei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashah b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, as we say. Amen. Having honored those that we've loved and lost, let us honor those around us, whether they're with us physically in this moment or whether we are reaching out to them through technology and all the other ways, as we bless each other with the words of the priests. May God bless you and keep you. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious unto you. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. We raise a glass now as we join in the words of Kiddush and Motzi to bless the Shabbat and to begin our Shabbat meal.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziad Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
Join us in Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Quick announcement that next week, as we will stand on the other side of this election, that we've planned a special service specifically focused on peace and on hopefully our ability to take a deep breath, having been through these months filled with so much strife politically, filled with strife because of the pandemic, filled with strife because of everything going on in the world, that we hope some of that can be relieved in the week ahead, and we hope that our service next Friday night can allow us collectively as a community to do that. And we have some special music that Cantor Kathy has planned, and so we hope that you'll join us again virtually next Friday night as we come together for that service that we've planned around the theme of peace. We'll close this evening with the words of Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, page 353 or 657 in your prayer books. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Salam.
Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Salam.
Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Salam.
Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Salam.
Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.